Man, I started looking up like old, early 2000s vintage photos, man, of spinner necklaces, right? I'm 31 and I remember that era, like from 2000 to 2005 was not just the last 5 year generation, not just the last decade, not just the last era, but it was the last generation, the last decade, the last age gap of gangster music, of hip hop and street fashion, and hip hop and street jewelry. And if you were to ask me, hey, man, what's one jewelry fashion that you wish that would come back in style? I wish spinners would come back, man. Like I used to have a spinner. I had a rim, a rim one. It was big. I remember I got it at like a hair place one day. It had the barrel roll chain and everything, and it was pretty big. Like to give like a good example, let me grab this lid over here. To give a good example, and for the younger ones, like the young people that may see this video, like the spinner chains when they came out were the size of this candle lid, if not a little bit more bigger. And a lot of people bought them. You had the rims, which were pretty popular because you had spinning rims that came out back then from a song from 3 6 Mafia featuring Little Flip. Riding spinners. Back then. Um, you know, I can name some iconic ones. I think the main person to really start the spinner necklace era off was definitely 50 Cent. Um, he had the big G Unit spinner chain. You had Young Buck had one, 50, Lloyd Banks, uh, Hoot Kid. Yayo didn't have one from what I know of. I know 50 after that era was over, and a little bit before the Curtis album came out, and before TOS came out. Nobody really asked him the question until like decades, years later. Like, do you still have your G Unit, spinner chain? He's like, no, man. Like, I sold that off on eBay. Man, now do I believe he sold it off? I don't know. I'm gonna say yeah, but I don't remember that news being that big. Um, I think he might still have a couple of G Unit chains. Like I know, they got the smaller one that he wore a lot that was like gold and white, I believe at the time it was. Um, Now, if you were to sit here and ask me which one I think it was, like celebrities, what a lot of people don't tend to realize, and how we always hear about the stories how celebrities getting robbed for their chains and like it turns out to be fake. Well, guess what? They're not going to wear the real ones. They're going to wear the fake ones out. So if somebody wanted to rob them of their chain, the robber's going to get away with the fake jewelry. And I remember that newspaper article, coming out. I think I was in middle school, and it had like, when famous rappers go out in public or go out to go shopping, and if they want to wear one of their chains, they get duplicates. Like, they keep the real one safe, at a jeweler's or in their home somewhere. So, the real one is what they're going to wear on tour and on shows. But if they go out to like the malls or like grocery stores out in public, they're going to get a duplicate that's going to be fake, but it's going to look really real. So if anybody tries to rob them, the robber's going to get away with the fake chain. So when a lot of people try to clown famous people, like, man, I robbed this guy of his chain, but come to find out, his chain was fake or his watch was fake. Well, think about it, man. Are you clowning him because he wore fake jewelry out in public? Or are people really clowning you that know the truth? Like, man, you think somebody's going to be as stupid to wear something legit real like that? You got clowned and made a fool of for getting away with some fake shit. Think about that. You're not going to wear the real stuff out in public, man, as a celebrity like that. And to me, it's smart thinking. Like Chameleonaire, like he had a. I don't know if he still has. I don't know if he still has his Chameleon Koopa chain, but you know his was reported like like he has a duplicate made. That's not real. So when he wears it, if something happens to it, like he's not worried because it's gonna get 100% easy to replace, right? And that was one of the famous ones. Like you had the G Unit one. If you wanted the big G Unit chain at that time, like I think there was like the 50 Cent fan club or something at that time that how you could get one. I know they sold some of the ones like this, but they were the harder to find. I think the most common one was just the 50 Cent one that spun. Again, I had the Rim one. You had a Tupac one. It had like this size and had like a gun on it, like such, and on the gun it said Tupac, and then you had the regular Tupac one as well. So them ones were out. Then you had like a cross spinner one at the time, and that spinner chains definitely is what set the wave. I know you had a Young Bucks, Young Buck spinner chain with the BY, spinner chain on it. You had a couple other celebrities with their spinner chains as well, and you had Little Flip. He had he still has his Little Flip spinner chain, and a lot of today's younger kids who comment on that video, it's like, man, this dude still got a spinner. Like they don't understand. Like they were babies. Like the younger kids, like you guys have to understand, like you guys were babies when the spinners came out. Like I know it's hard for you guys to understand and appreciate that, but the spinner chains of then were like better than the spinner chains of now. Like your guys' spinner chains are no more than little spinium pieces around the size of this sharpener. Like that's nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like understand something. Like the fashion from 2000 to 2006, the music from 2000 to 2005, the jewelry from 2000 to 2006, you know what I'm saying? That was the last era, the last decade, the last, generation of my generation. Because around that time, we were getting older and a lot of things were definitely changing. We're like, damn, like, where do we go from here with the time? So, eventually, yeah, we had to grow from a lot of things, but, that was the last. So much that was appreciated. Then you had John Cena, came out with his spinner, right? And everything, and with his belt. Like, I remember the spinner watches that came out. The spinner watches were expensive at the time, so nobody really had them. You had gold, you had silver. Last year, I found one online, brand new, and I bought it. And I always wanted one, and I got one. And this spins so good. Like look how good that spins. Yes. Like I wish these would come back. I really do. I wish they would come back. They had the G Unit spinner watches like this based off a 50 Cent spinner watch, and he had God gave me God put a smile on my face, or God gave me smile. That's where that originated from with that. Then you had like the smaller John Cena, spinium piece like this. Now this one, it has that 80s look to it from what I went over in my jewelry documentary that I did based off my jewelry and given the history of it. Like this spins decent. This spins decent. See, that spins really good, really decent. And I even found a spinner chain online, one that I used to have brand new, man, like a good $25. And I'm legit thinking, man, I should get that chain, just to feel, saying that nostalgia again. So if you were to ask me, hey, Cheddar, if you were to pick what chain what would come back in style, my answer, the spinner chains, man. The spinner chains. You can't go wrong with the spinners, man. Like you just can't go wrong with it. Like understand something. Again, with my generation, we came up on the big jewelry pieces. We came up on the big, huge jewelry pieces that definitely show a symbolism of power, rank, respect, money at that time. And I still got mines, but I think for me it would be the spinners. I definitely want to see a spinners definitely make a comeback, one day. But with that being said, man, I'm out. Peace.